making the most out of your Office 365 subscription. We see a lot of clients that, you're paying, whether it be $5 a month or $12.50 a month for the Business Essentials, Business Premium. You have access to so many apps, and Microsoft continues to add more and more. But a lot of clients aren't taking advantage of some of those apps. So I just want to kind of show you again. I'm gonna just kind of graze over the surface of everything that you can be doing and focus on a few apps that I feel like would be helpful. But again, there are so many more that I don't really have time to touch on today. Obviously, if you're interested in a certain app, you're more than welcome to reach out to me or to Sierra, and she can get in contact with me so that we can kind of discuss that with you. But the ones we're going to kind of touch on today are ones that we see being used more and more lately. So let's get started. So as Sierra mentioned, I'm Casey Cook. I'm one of the IT consultants here at BizTech. I've been with BizTech for almost, I think, 7 or 8 years now. Been in IT for closer to 15 years, and then kind of specialize in cloud and cybersecurity. So Office 365 kind of falls into that cloud technology. So that's where I get to kind of play with it as my job. So today we're kind of going to run through a few apps that you get with Office 365. So you can see here we're going to touch on Microsoft Flow, Microsoft Stream. Microsoft Teams is kind of the big one. So I'm going to focus a lot on that, and you'll even see with the first 2 apps that we talk about how those tie into Microsoft Teams. Lastly, we'll kind of touch on Microsoft Whiteboard and OneNote, and then I'll kind of show you the mobile apps too and some of the functionality that's built into those that kind of combines everything as well. And then lastly, we'll have a Q&A, and obviously, this is just kind of, again, grazing the surface. There are so many different apps I could show, whether it be Delve, Forms, Sway. Those ones are, I don't have time to touch on today, but if you're interested in those, I'm more than happy to show you. But again, we have a ton of content. I think I have close to 300 slides. I had a lot more, but I was told I need to cut that back. So let's get started here. So Microsoft Flow, if you're not familiar with it, it's more of just kind of a way to combine multiple applications and to automate processes and workflows. You can see here, it doesn't work with just Microsoft products, but with other third-party apps as well, similar to like Trello or SurveyMonkey. There's so many different ones, Twitter, even Facebook. And it just lets you combine, those apps even inside of Microsoft 365 and create different workflows. So I just kind of want to run through how those work. Obviously, I'm just going to kind of touch on some of them. The easiest way to get started with Flow is to start with templates. And again, there are thousands of templates. And again, with there being so many different applications that it works with, there's hundreds of templates for each application. Looking at just these ones here, you can see there's different options, whether it be Outlook or Office 365, SharePoint, if we want to combine Teams or Twitter, all these different apps that it works with. I'm just going to kind of run through how those work and show you the kind of steps to creating your own. Obviously, if you have a certain application for one of these, it would make it a lot easier to kind of know where you want to go. So just kind of showing you an example here. Let's select the create a to-do item in Wunderlist. That's the last one on the top right there. And you can see from here, it just kind of gives you a brief description of what this template is doing. So what this is really going to do is anytime you receive an important email into your Office 365 inbox, it's going to create a task or to-do list item for me inside of Wunderlist. Wunderlist is actually an app that got bought out by Microsoft. Microsoft is kind of trying to shift it into what they call Microsoft To Do. So Wunderlist will probably go away at some point, but for right now, we're going to use it for this example. And scrolling down here, you'll see where it kind of says these are the different authentications that you're going to need or different applications that we're going to connect. So we're going to click continue. And then Megan Bowen is our demo user here. So you can see here, what we're first going to do is kind of change this. Let's say we're going to create a travel to-do item list. So anytime we receive an email that has travel in the subject and it's marked with high importance, we're going to have it create a to-do list item inside our travel list items. So clicking on the first item here, you can see the kind of the process and the workflow of starting at the top, what the steps are. So one is you receive an email. Once that email is received, if it matches, the specifications that we set, then it's going to create that task inside of Wunderlist. So let's click on view more options once we change that. You can see here, so folder path, this is just kind of looking inside of our inbox. Obviously, we could set the to and from addresses if we wanted to. Obviously, we're going to just kind of create as a general task or flow. And so this is going to be marked with high importance. If we wanted to say, yes, this has an attachment, we can set that as well. It doesn't, so we're going to ignore that. And then down at the subject filter, we're actually going to add travel since we're kind of creating a travel to-do list flow. So it's as simple as that as far as the first step. And then lastly, we're just going to create a task and have it anytime that email is received, add it to our travel to-do list. So again, once that's done, we can just hit create flow up in the top right, and I have my fancy little laser pointer that I can show you everything. Create flow up at the top. Let's actually going to rename it first. And then once it's created, it'll say your flow has been created. To exit, click done. And then that was it. It's as simple as that. Now, anytime we receive that email, it's going to create a task inside of Wunderlist in our travel list. And again, this can help you kind of automate a lot of different tasks. So personally, I use it with email attachments. So again, I get a lot of email attachments, emails with attachments, and anytime I need to find those, I always usually have to sift through my emails trying to figure out, okay, where's that email that had this specific attachment? Well, I created a flow that anytime I receive an email that has an attachment, it just saves that attachment to my OneDrive account into a specific folder. So that makes it so much easier for me, because now I can just, instead of having to go through all those emails, I just go to my OneDrive account, I search for maybe that document that I know I'm looking for, and then bam, it's right there ready to go. I don't have to go searching through emails. There's other ones too where, anytime I have an appointment that's on my Outlook calendar, I can have it create a OneNote page that's meant for that meeting or for that appointment. And that way, I don't have to go through creating, obviously very simple, but I can go directly to OneNote. I can open that OneNote page that has the title of that meeting and then just start adding notes. So again, there's very simple flows, but you can get very, very intricate with these flows as well. So I want to kind of show you, I'm not going to go too in depth on this, but just kind of show you briefly what that can do. We've worked with a few clients on creating some very, very in-depth flows. This one here is looking at internal sales associate screening. So let's say you have a position in your company that you want to screen internal candidates for. So what this is starting out with, as if there's any sort of, if you have any sort of email received that's from an internal resource about a position, it's creating an approval. So what that's doing is, Megan being our demo user, anytime she receives an email about, maybe it has the subject that says internal resume submission, it's going to create a flow that sends her an approval, and she can choose to ignore or to maybe view that person or see their resume. You can see down here, if we scroll down, the two options are yes or no. So if she chooses like, oh, this is a good candidate, we like to screen this person, it's going to send an auto response to the candidate saying, hey, thank you for applying. We'll get back to you in a few days. Once that process is done, it creates the candidates, or takes the candidate's profile information. So whether it be the department they work in now, maybe the current boss that they have or current manager that they have, their email address, any other information, it's going to post a message to Yammer, to the sales group. So maybe Megan wants to get a little feedback from other people about it, and then creates a high priority Wunderlist task inside her to-do list. So again, just kind of creating multiple flows, and you see we have multiple conversations that are being added here. And then next, if she does choose no, it's going to delay for 30 minutes and then send a not fit auto response to that candidate. So again, this can get very, very detailed. We're combining multiple apps here. Yammer, Outlook, Flow, because we're using Flow, SharePoint, all these different things that are being combined. I've even worked with Atrium Health a little bit with their nurse educators. They had, with nursing education, they have to make sure that all nurses are certified in certain things, whether it be stroke care or mental health. And so what they were trying to do was, find a way to be able to have kind of a learning management system, or LMS. And what they're using is they're actually using Microsoft Stream to provide a video. Once that video finishes, or that the nurse watches that video, it uses Microsoft Forms to give them a quiz right inside the same kind of view. They take that quiz. If they pass the quiz, it takes their information and sends them a link to a certification that's posted on SharePoint that they can access. So again, multiple applications that are kind of inside of Flow that are just creating processes for you. So next I want to touch on Microsoft Stream. Microsoft Stream is a replacement for Office 365 video, and it's meant as a corporate kind of YouTube channel, if you will. You can see here, Megan, again, being our demo user, we can see what content she has access to. So there's videos that she has access to, channels, groups, and then follow channels. And if she wanted to create her own videos, obviously we can upload a video or create a new channel or group, as long as you have admin access. So right here, you can see that we're browsing the videos that Megan has access to. And then right up here, we have different access to channels, people, and groups. So groups being any Office 365 groups, or even a Microsoft team that she's a part of. And then channels being, the different channels inside of those groups. So let's click on the marketing one here, and we're going to upload a new video. So if you had a video file, you could drag it right here, obviously. Let's upload one that we have. So Megan's going to upload this Contoso monthly Q&A session to Microsoft Stream. And once that video is being uploaded, we can adjust the title of it. We can add a description. So she's actually going to add a table of contents really to the video. You can see, just by adding the timeline here, the 0, 4 seconds or 35 seconds, this is going to provide a clickable link so that somebody can click that and then take them right to that section inside the video once it's uploaded. And then we can choose the thumbnail for it if there was one already there. We can set permissions. So this is just kind of choosing who's going to have access to this video once it is uploaded. So Megan's going to add it to the marketing channel. So anyone inside of that channel will be able to view it. And then as far as options, we can use Microsoft's facial recognition so that it picks up on people inside the video and kind of gives you a timeline of where they're present. I'll show you that a little bit more in depth here in a second. We can choose whether we want to have comments posted to that video or not. Obviously, if there's like HR videos or something that you want to share, you could host them here. Those probably don't need comments on there, so we could disable that. And then it can auto-generate a closed caption file for you just by transcribing the video, which I'll show you that here in a second as well. Next, once we click share, and once the video is uploaded, we can choose to share it through a link. You can see we can choose whether we want to have it start at a certain specific time for that link or not, or we can choose to embed that video. So again, using this code, we could embed this inside a SharePoint site. And I'll even show you how to add it to a Teams channel here in a second. All right, so going back over to Megan's videos, we're going to go into the marketing channel. You can see here that we have 3 videos, and the one down at the bottom there is our video that we just recently uploaded. So right off the bat, you can see we have the table of contents here that we added when we were uploading the video. You can see the transcription up here. So it automatically is transcribing the speech from the video. Obviously, it may not be perfect, but it provides a very good overview, and you can actually search through that transcription if you wanted to. So next, if we click on the People tab, you'll see right here, like I mentioned, we can use Microsoft's facial recognition to pick up on where specific people are in that video. So let's say we have this person here. I don't know who that is, but we want to jump down to when they came into the picture. We can kind of jump straight to that section. Obviously, it continues to follow transcription as the video plays. We have a closed captioning button here as well. So if you have those that are hard of hearing or deaf, we can actually have that transcription post straight there while they're watching the video in full screen if we wanted to. So next, we're back over on the Details tab. If I click the ellipses, from there, I can add it to a different group or channel, give other people permissions. I can delete this video if I have that access, or I can download the original video, again, if you're the admin or the person that posted it, or we can edit the details that we originally put in there. So let's click on Edit. You can see here, now that the video is uploaded, we could choose a different thumbnail if we wanted it, what the original video looks like or what it's going to show as when you share it out. If we wanted to turn comments off afterwards, we can, or adjust who the permissions or who has access to that video. And so next, I want to kind of show you. So let's say, we went to share this video, we download or we click share here, we select the link that we had to this video. So inside of Microsoft Teams, you can see Alex Wilbur shared the Y3D printers video here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click this plus tab, and I'm going to choose Stream. So I'll go into Microsoft Teams a little bit more in depth later, but I just want to kind of show you how Microsoft Stream can be implemented directly inside of Microsoft Teams. So from here, we're going to change the tab name to Marketing Videos, and the link that we copied from that video, we're going to post right here, and then click Save. So now, inside of Microsoft Teams, if we want somebody to be able to have access to all these marketing videos, now they can go just directly to this tab and access these videos without having to go out to Microsoft Stream. And that video can be played directly inside of there, and you can still continue to search the transcription just by clicking the search button down here, right inside of Microsoft Teams. So again, a lot of functionality built right into the Microsoft Office 365 cloud. Cool. And just to show you too, it's very similar experience on the mobile apps. So let's jump over to a mobile phone here and let's open up the Teams app. You can see it's a very similar layout. And again, we'll go more in depth into that. I just want to kind of show you how the stream works. So again, going over to Files and Tabs, clicking on Marketing Videos. And from there, it jumps directly to that streams page. So we can see all those videos directly on our phone. Again, it's going to be a very similar experience. Obviously, it's a little more crunched, but we can scroll up and down, watch the video right here, still have the table of contents. If we click the ellipses, we can still even jump to the transcription and the People's tab. So click on people here. You can kind of still see that same timeline. Again, so very similar experience to what we see in the desktop apps. All right, so I kind of give you a brief overview of Teams. Let's dive into a little bit more here. So Teams is kind of a very, we see that being asked for more and more. It's meant to be kind of a single pane of glass for all of Office 365. Again, it lets you kind of combine multiple applications all into one. You don't have to go to multiple places to access files, to access documents, to even work on documents. You can do it all from this single application. Right now, the webinar you're watching, we're hosting this through Microsoft Teams. We used to use WebEx, but now we found the functionality of Microsoft Teams allows us to, kind of host that same functionality. And even then, we use this as our phone system internally at BizTech. So we don't have, our VoIP system is running through Microsoft Teams. We don't have, I don't have a standard desk phone. I just have my headset here. I can make calls and to and from, even internationally if I wanted to, using the desktop application. So just kind of showing you the layout here. It is rather confusing when you're first looking at it. The way this works is these are the kind of the main tabs over here. You can see we have activity tab, chat tab, our Teams, meetings just kind of shows our calendar. We have the calls tab if I wanted to dial out somewhere, or access files that I've used inside of Teams. Since we're under the Teams tab, you can see here each of these little icons is the start of a new team. So we have the business development team, Mark 8 project team, X1050 launch team, and then everything underneath that is considered a channel. So again, you have the general channel, you have knowledge share channel, opportunities channel, and again, anybody that has access to this team will be able to see all these channels. It's just more meant to help you kind of silo information and conversations. So let's go next. I'm going to just kind of show you the activity tab. So again, activity tab just kind of shows you the feed, any like new posts that you may have missed since you were last here. We show this little purple icon next to it there. Even be bolded so you can see like, oh, this is something that you missed when you weren't there. You can see that people have shared documents directly inside of Microsoft Teams. And so this with Megan being our demo user, we can see that she's received this notification. You see this little @ symbol. That means that Megan had a mention, like her name was mentioned. So again, clicking over to this Alex mentions you, you can see it highlights that message for us. We can see our name shows up in red there as Megan Bowen. And if you haven't used the @ symbol, it's available in Outlook as well. So if you're inside of Outlook, if you type the @ symbol and then start to type a name, it'll actually show you the list of people that you can add. And then if they're not already added to the to or CC field, it will add them for you. So again, kind of a quick tip for you, but it works very similar inside Microsoft Teams where you can mention that person and it kind of gives them a notification like, hey, I'm trying to talk to you. So from here, we can see that Alex has mentioned Megan, and he says, I'm currently working on a work back schedule for this campaign. Please send high priority event dates as soon as possible. We can see Miriam was also mentioned. She's responded. So as Megan, let's send a response to Alex real quick. And like I mentioned, we type the @ symbol, start to type his name, and then it shows suggestions of the user that we're mentioning. I can click tab, it'll automatically enter his name there. We can send a response. So again, simple as that, just to respond to Alex's conversation. Next, let's scroll down here. As you can see, we asked Megan, as the user, we posted the spring campaign overview and asked for people to review and add additions. We can see Lee here has added a response in Japanese. I don't know about you, but I don't speak Japanese. Thankfully, Microsoft has Microsoft Translate built right into Microsoft Teams. So just by clicking the ellipses on that message, we can go to Translate, and it's going to take the Japanese characters and translate it directly to English for us. You can see that Lee has said, my input has been added. Well, since we know that Lee's added his input, let's open that spring campaign overview. So just by clicking inside that document, you can see that we're still inside the Microsoft Teams app here, but it's actually opened a preview of that Word doc file for us. We can see any comments that have been posted for this document. Now up at the top here, I can choose whether I want to edit this directly inside of Microsoft Teams. I can choose to open it in Word Online, so the online version of Word, or my desktop application as well. So let's just start editing it in Teams first. So again, you can see it's still inside of Microsoft Teams. We're just working with Word Online. I can continue to edit this document. And not only that, but it works very similar to how Google Docs used to work, where it shows multiple people and cursors for each person that's editing this document. So I can see that Miriam is also editing this. So if I scroll down a little bit, I'll be able to see actually, this is Miriam's cursor right here. So I see the section that she's working on right there. Let's say, Word Online is a little, limited as far as features. I need to do a little bit more in-depth editing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the ellipses up here and choose to edit it inside of Word. So again, it's now opened this document inside Microsoft Word, the desktop version. I can still see that Miriam is editing this document, and it still shows me where her cursor is. So again, if I scroll down, I'm going to review her comments. I can see again, this is where Miriam is editing the document right now. So she could be using the desktop application or editing it right inside of Teams. It doesn't really matter. I'm still going to see that she's working on it. I can still comment with, chat back and forth with her if I wanted to. So she's added this comment. And if we scroll down a little bit too, we'll be able to see this is where Lee has added his input. Unfortunately, it's still in Japanese. Thankfully, with the new Microsoft Word, I can just highlight that document. I'll click Translate up here. It's going to show me that it's detected as Japanese, and I can translate that directly to English and then insert it back into the document, which I'm going to do. So again, a lot of functionality built right into Microsoft Teams, and editing documents right inside as well. So let's jump over back to Microsoft Teams. So up at the very top, we have this search command bar. From here, we can pretty much access anything that we need to inside of Microsoft Teams. So by typing / or @ I can search for conversations with people, or even change my status from available to away or to busy, or even just kind of search for different conversations. Let's say, we had a conversation about the launch team here. We can't remember, when we talked about it. All I can do, or all I have to do, sorry, is type launch and hit search, and it's going to show me all the times that the word launch was mentioned inside messages. If there's certain people that had that, the name launch, obviously I could access it, or any files that have the word launch in it, it's going to show right inside of Microsoft Teams. So let's go back up to the command bar. You can see here, if you type / it kind of gives you a running list of all the commands that are available. Again, I can see the activity that it has, see somebody else's activity. I can change my status if I really wanted to. I could start a call with somebody by typing / call and then just type the @ symbol and their name without having to click a bunch to get access to the different tabs. I can view mentions, I can view saved messages, anything, all right from this command bar. So let's go to the X1050 launch team directly from there, and we'll go to the design channel. By clicking the ellipses on that team, you can see that this is actually set as a favorite, which is why it's kind of going to show up under favorites. Again, there, you can see there here where it says more, there's probably more teams that are available. Again, but if you're part of 20 teams, there probably is a lot of information coming back and forth. So you want to only follow the ones that you, or favorite the ones that you access most often. If you're an admin, obviously I can manage the team here. I can add multiple people to that, add members. I could leave the team if I wanted to. I would always make sure that there's multiple admins if you are an admin, or even add a new channel. So I'm going to click on Manage Team. And from there, you can see that we have multiple owners. So all 4 of these people here are owners of this team, so they can add members if they wanted to. You can see down below here that we have 18 members and guests. And the beauty of this is that you can have people from outside your organization that have access to this. Even if they don't have a Microsoft Teams license, we're basically adding them as a guest user. So I'm going to click Add Member. I'm going to add Bob K at tailspin.com here. So he's going to be added as a guest. Now, he's going to be able to access and see all the channels there. So you want to be careful if you're inviting customers or third-party vendors to your Microsoft team, just because they're adding directly to this team. So any information that's shared inside these channels, they're going to be able to see. So again, you have to be kind of careful of where you're adding them and what information you're giving them. But again, kind of gives you an easy way to collaborate with clients or third-party vendors too that are inside your internal organization. So next, I'm going to move up to the chat tab here. From there, you can see we have a bunch of different conversations. This works very similar to just a strict instant message. You can see we received a message from Isaiah here. Let's say we want to start a new conversation. All I need to do is click the compose button up at the top there. We can just start typing names. So let's add a few people to this conversation. And we can start. So if you to teams, you're going to have a large group of people that are a part of that team. If we want to have a more private conversation with multiple people, I can do that as just an instant message. I could even rename this. So, right up here where it says Isaiah, Johanna, and Lee, once I send this message, you'll see it gives me this little pencil icon. So if you want to, remember what the conversation's about, I could click this little pencil and then rename this group chat. So she's asking about some current process items. So I could click that and change the title of the chat to process items. Now you can see up here, I could choose this camera icon to actually start a FaceTime call or a video call with all those users. I can call them all and start a conference call. I can share content with them, so share my screen or share an application. or add new members. So I'm going to click the add new members. All I need to do is start typing a name. It's going to give me options as long as they're internal. And then you can choose whether I want them to see all the chat history, to not see any chat history, or to just see the chat history the past few days. So we're going to just include all chat history for Nestor here and click add, and you'll see that he's been added to the conversation. And like I showed you with Stream, it's a very similar experience across the mobile apps as well. So again, you can see the activity here, any of the chats that have taken place. This is just kind of showing some of the conversations. We can reply, we can forward it, save it, like it. So Megan's gonna like this one here. We can jump back and forth between all these tabs down at the bottom. Sorry, I'm showing it down here. So we're at the chat tab. We can go to the Teams tab and see access to all those teams and channels that we have. So clicking on meetings, we can kind of see all the meetings we have for today and tomorrow. If there was a Teams meeting, we could join that directly from the phone here. And even the calls tab. So this kind of shows all the missed and outgoing calls. I could start a new call by clicking the button up here. Let's go back over to the chat tab. So again, I can start a new chat, but I'm going to click on this one here and see that we have a conversation with Isaiah. From here, if we've shared any files inside this chat, I can still access them. And you can see that I can still start a video call or a phone call right inside the application. Again, if you have LTE or Wi-Fi signal, you'll be able to use your data to start those calls. And it's still going to show up as your number if you're using this phone system, or it's going to use your outside number actually. All right, so back over to the desktop application. So the way we can, actually, I want to show you quickly the difference between the conversations here. So we see a lot of confusion when people first start using Teams on what a thread is and what a conversation is. So just to kind of show you quickly, so you see the person's icon here with their avatar is the start of a new thread. What this thread is just kind of a conversation about whatever they started. The difference between that is if I start typing a new conversation, let's say I want to reply to Enrico here, I would actually have to click reply right here and not down at the bottom. Clicking down at the bottom and typing my reply to him, it would actually start a new thread, which that has caused some confusion even for us internally with the users. To reply to that person, I would actually click reply up here. And what that does is anytime you reply to a thread, Microsoft Teams actually pulls the most recent comment down to the bottom. So if I were to reply to Enrico, it's actually going to pull that thread down to the bottom so that if anybody came to this channel, they would see that as the starting thread. So again, it's a little confusing. And it takes a little getting used to, but once you figure it out, it's very easy. You'll see I can actually start a new thread down here. So let's say that we have this conversation right here with Joni, and we actually want to start a meeting with her. All I have to do is click the, whoops, I'll go back so I can show you. You see the little camera icon there. By clicking that, I can actually start a meeting. So let's go into that meeting. So you can see here we have a meeting with Isaiah. It's already showing that we're meeting in the legal and compliance channel. And we have a few different options, buttons as the conference call. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the ellipses there. So Microsoft actually has a way to blur the background, which I think Sierra has my video posted. So you should see that there's kind of a blur around me, hopefully. But by clicking that button, it does blur the background. That's just kind of to help cut down on distractions. We can also start a recording. So let's say that some people aren't able to view this video right now or join because they're traveling. We can actually record the meeting, record the conversation. It's going to save it in Microsoft Stream and actually post it directly to that channel, the legal and compliance channel, once it's finished, so that they can go back and look at that video and see what they missed. We'll start the recording. You'll see we have a bunch of options up here as well. So we can make the call full screen. We can click on the meeting notes, and that'll actually start kind of a collaborative note-taking section. So Megan can start that. Again, these notes are going to be posted directly into the channel with the meeting once it's finished. So again, kind of a collaborative way to take notes. Clicking on the chat tab, we can see anything that's taken place inside this thread. And we can actually add new things as well. So you see we have smileys, you have GIFs and stickers that you can add. You can do Bing image search. What we're going to do is we're actually going to use a different application. So clicking the ellipses, you can see we have different apps. Let's do a Wikipedia search. She's going to add a definition for copyright infringement directly inside that chat. There you go. Again, once that conversation's over, once you end that call, it's going to add it directly to the Microsoft Teams channel. So you can see we're still in legal compliance, but it's actually going to show that recorded meeting. So again, if there were users that missed it, they can dive in directly. They can view the meeting notes and even see that the definition for copyright infringement that we added. All right. So with each channel, there's going to be tabs up at the top here. You can see that conversations is kind of the default, but there's a files tab. So any files that are shared inside of Teams are going to be stored in this files section. Again, so you don't have to go sorting through old conversations to find a file. You can just go to the files tab, find the one that you're looking for, and then again open it directly in Teams, or you can open up in the desktop application or the online application. You'll see here that there's a button to open in SharePoint. So SharePoint is actually used on the back end with Microsoft Teams. So any files here are actually created inside an Office 365 group, which has a SharePoint site for it. We can also add additional cloud storage. So if you are using Google Drive or Dropbox or something like that, you can actually add those too as a document library inside of Microsoft Teams. You can see there's a few options here. So Dropbox, Box, Citrix ShareFile, even Google Drive, they can be added directly to Microsoft Teams. And it works with a ton of third-party apps. And I mean, this is just kind of a brief overview here. You can see there's Salesforce, there's Jira Cloud. I know that there's all sorts of different ones here. I'm not going to go through all of them, but there's just a huge list of apps. And again, this is just kind of the most popular ones. There are more that they keep adding as well that has functionality with Microsoft Teams. So let's dive into Microsoft Whiteboard and OneNote now. Again, this is going to kind of show you how it works inside of Teams. So with Microsoft Whiteboard, its application, by clicking the share button here, I can choose Microsoft Whiteboard. This is going to start a new whiteboard. And again, this is just kind of a collaborative way to take notes and stuff while you're having conversations. So from here, you can actually do a lot of drawing if you have a Microsoft Surface or something with a pen. So right here is kind of showing you how we can write it out. By using the magic wand, we can actually transform that into text. Smart enough to pick up on characters. If we want to change the background, obviously white maybe isn't your thing. We can change to have a grid that makes it easier for drawing, or actually change the color of the background as well. Then there's a lot of different things that we can add to the whiteboard. So you can see here we can paste any text, we can add pictures, sticky notes, the Bing image search, or actually search for files as well. So we're going to add a little bit of text. That can be resized and moved around as we see fit. You actually add cells as well. So again, it looks like Megan here is using her pen to kind of draw this out and then add tabs as she goes. And then as she writes, it should kind of translate that into a little cleaner text that can be resized. And then we can add photos as well. So she's going to kind of add a preliminary budget here, and then we can draw right on top of it. So you can see here that she's going to highlight and draw right on top of the image that we entered. This again just allows a little brainstorming session, a little information to be shared, and then add notes as well. Very similar experience. You can access Teams and Microsoft Whiteboard all from a mobile app. And it looks very similar, again, just a little bit more crunched down. Change the color of those and add more to-dos and anything. And like I mentioned, we can do a Bing image search. So like right here, she's going to search for drones. We can add a few pictures, and just by clicking them, we can kind of stagger them together, or stack them, sorry. And it's very easy to add more people to your brainstorming session here. So she's going to actually click the Add People button. So she actually writes out the name and it actually picks up on her handwriting, and she can invite them directly to the onboard session. And it's going to show a avatar next to each person's cursor. This works very similar to when you're doing a screen share inside of Teams, where it'll show multiple cursors. Each person will have their own avatar next to it, so you can see who is who. Once we're done with that whiteboard, we can click the export image icon. We're going to add this to a OneNote. So if you haven't used OneNote, I highly recommend checking it out. I use it for all of my notes. And what it is really just kind of meant as a digital notebook. So if you have a Surface or even like an iPad Pro or something, and you have a pen, it's very easy to just kind of write notes in here. You can see here we have multiple sections. This is Megan's notebook, and she's adding different pages to this notebook as well. It works with adding files too, so you can add full files. If you have a PDF, it can create a printout right inside of OneNote, and they even have a web clipper. So that's one of my favorite things to use. Well, they're going to add the picture here real quick, and I'll dive into that. So you can see the whiteboarding session that we had as a picture has been added directly to here. Adding more pictures and links, and you can even create a to-do list using tags and stuff inside of Microsoft OneNote. Just a way to kind of keep information organized. So I mentioned the OneNote web clipper. So it's a very cool thing that you can add to Firefox, Chrome, Microsoft Edge, maybe even Safari. I'm not sure about that one. But whatever web browser you're using, you can use the web clipper. And what this does is it allows you to clip articles, pictures, anything from a web page and add it directly to a OneNote section or page. So you can see here it's just kind of showing a few quick clips of what you could do with it. You have the recipes. You can send clips of any notebook, and again, or to any notebook. So you can see here we're clipping this article about a dog. They've added highlights, and we're sending or choosing where we send this in our OneNote sections. So if there's a certain picture that we wanted to save, any information if we're doing research on, you can clip full articles. So if you want to read them later or go back to them later, and you can even clip a whole page. So let's say you have a certain article that you want to read. By going to full article or full page, it'll actually remove all the ads and stuff from the side and just kind of give you a reading version of that article. So you can go back and read it later. All right. So lastly, I kind of want to jump through some of the cool things that we can do with the Microsoft mobile apps. Again, these work on Apple and Android. So I'm going to start with Excel. So you can see here we have campaign sales data. We're actually going to start a new one and insert data from a picture. This is a pretty cool feature here. So again, we have this new Excel spreadsheet open. What I'm going to do is click the insert data from picture. And then it gives me this little camera view. You can see here we have a little table. Just by taking a photo of that, it's able to use the camera's functionality to add that information directly into the spreadsheet. So again, it's not perfect. It might miss a few things. You can see here, instead of X1050, it's got a weird symbol there. But we can adjust that as well. And again, that information gets added directly to this spreadsheet. Just getting kind of cool functionality. OneDrive also has a similar feature. I use it a lot of times for if I'm traveling, I have gas receipts or something. I can actually take my phone, take a picture inside of the OneDrive app of that receipt. It kind of saves it to my OneDrive files as a picture, and I can kind of share that where I need to. Without having to worry about paper documents. It kind of saves it directly there, uploads it to the cloud, and I can access it from anywhere. It's kind of a cool feature. And again, this can be saved to any sort of OneDrive or SharePoint site or to device. And so it looks like they're going to share it directly to a Microsoft team. They actually choose the folder there. Next is the Outlook app. Again, very similar experience to the desktop app where you have focused and other. I know some people aren't big fans of that. It's easy to turn off whether you're on the desktop app or here, just with a few clicks of the settings. You can see here we can access all our files, even our calendar right from the desktop app. So if you are Apple or Android user, I highly recommend checking this out if you're on Office 365, because it does kind of combine the features of being able to open documents right inside of Outlook, to access OneDrive files as well. You can see here that we have a an email from Alex. We can actually, just hold on, this one. So this one I was trying to get to. So we have an email from Miriam and it's got a PowerPoint attached to it. I can click that and open it right inside the desktop app. Any changes that I make here the mobile application, any changes that I make inside the mobile application will be saved directly to that document, because you're basically given a shared file. And any changes that you make are saved to OneDrive or SharePoint, wherever you're accessing that file from. So again, I can scroll through this, make any changes, add any animations or changes to it. And any of the changes I make, Alex or Miriam, whoever sent us that document, they'll be able to see once we make changes, even from our mobile device, because it's auto-saving that. You can see auto-saving is turned on here. All right, so that's all I have. Again, there are tons of other applications that I could show off. Unfortunately, we don't have a ton of time. I see we're already at 50 minutes here, so I want to be mindful of everybody's time, or 40 minutes, sorry. So just quickly what we've learned, we learned how to use Microsoft Flow to create some workflows and processes that we can automate, hopefully take some stress out of trying to find documents, trying to create to-do lists, or even remembering things. We looked at Microsoft Stream, again, which is kind of a replacement for YouTube, or as a corporate YouTube way to share video content, because video is becoming so popular. I don't even, when I'm trying to learn something, I feel like I go to YouTube more than looking up books or something now. So again, video is very powerful. So that's something I definitely recommend checking out. Microsoft Teams. This is kind of the big one, again, being kind of that single pane of glass for all of Office 365. We looked at Microsoft Whiteboard and OneNote to kind of collaborate and take notes and share information. And then even looked at using some of the mobile apps there. So that is all I have as far as content. If there's any questions, whether it be about one of these apps, one of the other apps, I'm more than happy to take those now. All right, so I'm not seeing anything. Again, I'm more than happy to send out my email, or if you want to send an email to info@biztechnologysolutions.com. Whether you want to ask questions about any of the applications we discussed or any other ones, again, I'm more than happy to answer your questions. But that is all I have for now. So Sierra?
All right, thank you, Casey. Also, like he said, if you do have any questions, feel free to send them to info@biztechnologysolutions. And again, I just want to thank you for taking your time today and joining in. And I hope all this information was super helpful. And now you can definitely make the best of your Office 365 subscription. All right, have a good rest of your day. Thanks again, Casey.
Thank you, everyone.